Hello everybody, let me know if the music's a little bit loud. I might need to turn it down. Let me let people know that the stream is live. So this might get a little bit weird. Actually, I'm just gonna go the sidestep that route. All right. Gonna let people know that I'm live. There we go, copy the link. Okay, so now I've let all the Discord peeps know that the stream is live. Now let me let Hey Silva, welcome. I'm just letting people know that the stream is live. How was your dinner with a family member? Can you hear me? Oh, okay. It was good. Didn't talk much because I never know what to talk. Yeah, that's a rough call with family members because, like, what do you do when you have family you don't share any interests with? Like, what do you talk about? Like, I found out a few years ago that I have a sister that I never grew up with, right? I have a sister that's on the other side of the planet. Well, now, I think currently she's in Texas, but that might as well be the other side of the states. And the thing with me and my sister, oh goodness. Like, so, oh, hold on, let me switch to my just chatting screen. I've let people know the stream is live. All right, here we go. Enjoying having a camera directly mounted on my monitor for as long as I still have that until I have to deal with having a separate camera. I think that's one of the things that's going to be like frustrating to deal with once I get my gaming PC is going to be having a separate camera. But like, it's obviously going to be a better quality camera than what I have built into my laptop, because gaming laptop's not going to have a top tier camera. So I'm just going to be controlling my character with my mouse for a while. Probably till I get next month's money or whatever, and I can buy a camera. But yeah, so I have a sister that I didn't grow up with. I found out about her a few years ago, a few years after my biological father passed. And like, she was already on the verge of graduating high school when we met, and like, English isn't her first language, and I didn't know what to say. At first, she was like really close and talking to me, and I think talking to me was a comfort for her after our father died. But now we just talk very sparingly, and I never know what to say because like, she's into like shopping and selfies, and is really busy with college and working towards a career, and I'm over here just struggling to survive. Like, I don't know if I can really explain streaming to her. Maybe she'll understand if she's like into all that hip stuff. I don't know. Though, Silva, you'll get a kick out of this. What was it? I think it was yesterday. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! For the first time in a long time. So my friend, one of the people I'm living with, was someone, well, the person who introduced me to everybody here I met through Yu-Gi-Oh! I won quite a few times. Hey, Okusen, welcome. So, my, hey, Nekomaji, yeah, something like that. Most of my collection, well, I don't play on Master Duel. Most of my collection is still in storage, including my main deck and a lot of my stuff, a lot of my pieces. But I loved machine type cards. I'm a mecha fanboy at heart. I've always loved giant robots, and for a while I liked knights in big armor because the bulky armor looked kind of like a mech. But yeah, I've really developed into a machine duelist. And having that be my niche as I played some rogue decks. And so my friend, because he knows that I like machine cards and that most of my collection is in storage, he went out of his way to collect a bunch of the new Machina cards, as well as the reprints of the old ones. He didn't get all of them. Like, he didn't like get 3 structure decks. But he got a lot of it. And like, he gave it to me and was like, here, you can have it. And so yesterday I built a deck for the first time in a while. It doesn't have an extra deck. It is not even remotely competitive. It's not something I would take to like a tournament. It's kind of cobbled together with like a half-built engine, but like, it was fun. It was fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I won most of the games. And I'm at this weird precipice because I'm in the middle of spending money on things. Yes, Vanguard has more of the mechs. Vanguard definitely has more of the mechs. Between Nova Grappler and Dimension Police, and especially the Dimensional Robos, yeah. But one thing I've also noticed about having a deck is that one of the things, like just shuffling the deck and doing doing test draws where you draw and play out the first turn, or play out the first or second turn, doing that absent-mindedly just helps me focus on what I'm doing, because that doesn't take a whole lot of my attention. Like right now, while I'm talking to you, I'm shuffling the deck, and I didn't realize how much I missed shuffling a deck of sleeve cards that wasn't an Uno deck. Yeah, Super Quantum. Did that ever get support? I remember when they came out, I was debating getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh for them. Yes, every day he's shuffling. I'm missing a few pieces from the Machina structure decks that don't cost very much. Has some support, but is not competitive. Okay. And there's part of me that is debating Cat Girl, so I run Luna Knights among some fun decks. That's fun. I'm debating after all this stuff with my gaming PC is dealt with, maybe ordering some of the pieces I'm missing, like the Machina trap card. Who should I order from Randy? See if Randy has the pieces I need. Yeah, like, so the boss monster from the structure deck, Machina Citadel, from the most recent structure deck, for whatever reason, my friend only had one of it, and it comes as one ofs in the structure deck. So I know that's how I know he didn't just get 3 structure decks and pile them together. But he got them from a friend of his who was getting rid of their stuff. So Citadel costs like $1 and change on TCG Player. So I'm debating getting 2 more Citadel. There's a trap card that's really useful for the deck that helps with recycling. And a draw card that helps with unbricking the deck. The draw card's like 33 cents. So that's that's nothing. Yes, I love Fortress. And then there's a trap card that helps a lot, but the thing is, the trap card's the most expensive part. The trap card goes for like $3 a pop, and I need at least one of it. The deck list I was looking at ran 1, but I was thinking of running 2 to 3, just because it's a really good trap card, but I'm not sure, just for recycling, because it would make the trap card lets you add Machinas from your remove from play zone and your graveyard back into your deck, which makes Machina Megaform playable, because Machina Megaform, when a fortress is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can banish the Machina. When a Machina Fortress is sent from field to graveyard, you can banish the fortress in order to special summon Machina Megaform, and then you contribute Machina Megaform to summon any Machina from the deck. So debating doing that, but here's the thing, right? At the level where I'm at right now, my deck goes toe-to-toe with my friend's decks. I think I win quite a bit more than I lose, but like I can still lose. My friend still has an out in order to beat me. I'm worried that if I build, because my friend plays super casually, I'm worried that if I actually invest, because my friend is not, because he has bills, he has a kid, he has real life responsibilities, he can't invest in getting cards. So I'm worried that if I invest this like 10, maybe $20 into getting some staples and things in order to improve the deck, then it's going to get to the point where it's going to be unbearably oppressive for me to play him when I'm already teetering on that right now. And then it just stops being fun, because then it feels like I'm just punching down. You know what I mean? But then there's the other part of me that's bugged by the fact that the deck is so incomplete. Like, I don't even have MST in the deck, and that's the biggest weakness of the deck, is that oh, what was this? Okay, I got an update on my phone, and it was from a few minutes ago. The biggest weakness I run into when I play against my friend is that when he uses his Sacred Beast deck, and my only back row removal is Fortress getting destroyed by battle. That's my only back row removal. And my friend, one of his main decks that I go toe to toe with, that's one of his only non-GOAT decks, is a Sacred Beast deck. And once he gets the Sacred Beasts on the board, and he gets their field spell on board, they can't be destroyed by card effect, and they can't be targeted by card effects. So I have no way, since they can't be destroyed by card effects, I have no way to push to clear his board, to break his board at all, if I can't get rid of that field spell, because destroying them by battle is just not going to happen when they're all at like 4,000 attack points. Yes, and I use actual back row in the deck. I like Silva. I know your deck laughs at that. I'm aware that your deck laughs at that. Silva, trust me, I am fully aware that your deck would completely, like, wreck my friend's deck. I know that. Like, I know that entirely. And that's the thing. I don't want. Yours laughs at all? Oh, okay. You've got the cat girls, right? Right, Nekomaji? Or you're stuck actually playing. You force your opponents to actually play the game. Oh, your fun decks. Oh, okay. Though it is kind of fun having a deck without an extra deck that's just about the cards in the deck. Sounds about right, Nekomaji. Sounds like you go toe to toe with Silva. Also, is the music too loud? It's frustrating that because I'm playing it through YouTube, I either always have my YouTube volume turned way down. Oh, your favorite fun deck has no extra deck? That's cool. I either have my volume turned way down on YouTube so that all my YouTube videos are super quiet, or I just have to figure out where that sweet spot was I had last stream for having the volume turned down on the Lofi Girl stream, because the Lofi stuff on the Lofi Girl stream is just, it's not that it's loud, it's just you can hear it. And that kind of loud stuff that loud lo-fi music, that high volume, higher volume lo-fi music is great whenever I just need to focus and study and just knuckle down on writing. But when I'm streaming and I'm actually talking to people and trying to interact, that's just not ideal, you know? What's your favorite fun deck with no extra deck, Nekomaji? So, in case you haven't noticed, I like to spend on these streams, since it is technically a free chat stream, I like to spend the first 20 to 30 minutes just free chatting about life and about stuff. It's a light deck. It has no preset engine. Ooh, that's delicious. I like to spend my first 20 to 30 minutes just actually talking about stuff and chatting. I think it sets the mood really well whenever we go into the actual writing portion of the stream. Just a little look behind the curtain. That's cool, Nekomaji. Or you're forced to actually play the game. No, a Yu-Gi-Oh player's greatest weakness, actually playing the game. So like, my friend, when I play him, he has this habit that gets on my nerves. One of the aces is level 4, nice. He has this habit that gets on my nerves, and I don't know what to say about it, right? Where if he draws multiple of the same card, where like in his opening hand or his draws it's the same card, he will like shuffle them back in the deck mid-duel and then redraw because he's like, oh, they got stuck together. If he draws a card that he's like, oh, this isn't supposed to be in the deck, he'll pull it out, set it aside, then redraw. And like, the competitive part of me is like, no, if you get a bad hand, play it out. Right? That's what the competitive part of me wants to say. But like, this is a casual game. And if you can't play the game because you have a terrible hand, or because you drew three of the like all your copies of the same card, what's the point? Like, it's not something I would do, but yeah, I used to when I was competing in Yu-Gi-Oh a lot more, I used to think of it like as being different levels, different tiers. There's the friend duels where you're just dueling with your friend up the street. There's the locals, the local level where you're competing with friends at locals at at tournaments, and then there's like the national and big time and the regional and national level where you're going to actual big events, where you're traveling, going to big events in order to compete. But I've kind of smoothed on that because I realized that I had a time when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of my personal identity I had wrapped up in this belief that I was on that third tier, that national and regional tier because I used to go to regionals. I used to go to regional events, and I like I went to one like national air quotes event, and it wasn't even a national event. It was when I traveled across the country to go to the final Shonen Jump before they changed them to YCS. I traveled with Randy and friends, and it was this whole adventure. And but the problem was, whenever I got to those regional events, those big events, I would choke in ways that I wouldn't choke when I was competing at the locals level. And so I could not accept that I was a locals level player at best. I could beat local duelists in matches at locals. But once I got to the big thing and I was facing real competitive tier things, I would trip up. I would make mistakes. I would misplay. And that kind of was a big blow to my dignity for a while. That was a big blow to my self-identity. Yeah, both sides don't read their cards. There's just so much text on Yu-Gi-Oh cards. There really is. Okay, Nekomaji. What's this about Supervis? What are you talking about, Silva? What do you mean? I'm not supervising anyone. It's a supervis. Half the reason I do it is just to annoy you. Yeah, my Gemini deck was interesting way back in the day. That was an experience. I don't know if I'd ever play them again, but that was what got me set on this idea of building a deck out of structure decks, and then the Machina structure deck came out right after that, and I was stuck on the same deck for a decade. Over a decade. Special summon, it can't be targeted by effects or destroyed by battle. It's just a level 4 fairy. People keep trying to target or attack it. That's hilarious. To play Geminis without dying in real life? I take it you have experience with them, Okusen. Chemic critters were good. Okay. Well, if they're gonna sacrifice the indestructible thing for something that's just gonna die fast anyway, why not sit on the indestructible thing? Like, I totally see why you would sit on that. The worst archetype? So the problem with Geminis is that they're not really an archetype. And win fast, do multiple combos. Okay, I can see that. So there are Gemini cards of different types, right? And they help out whatever that type is supposed to do. But then when you put them all together into one deck, there's little to no actual coordination there. I mean, they came out with a structure deck that was a bunch of Gemini warriors that kind of coordinated and worked together, but it was not the best deck in the world. It was like you ended up putting in a lot of work for not a lot of output. Like, you do a lot of work just to spam out Phoenix Gearfried and hope that that's enough to carry you to victory. It's just a whole mess. You would just like Foolish Burial or use other cards in order to send cards from your deck to the graveyard. Then hope your opponent blows up your Supervise. There, I said it right, Corey. Silva. I would then hope my opponent is going to MS not read the Supervise and MST it. I'm sorry, Silva. Yeah, people. Yeah. It's a thing. Like, I was watching this video on Team APS's channel, or it was like their side channel, Team APS Plus, and they were talking about how, yes, MST negates, of course. Okay, Silva. So I was watching this video on Team APS, their side channel, Team APS Plus, and they were like talking about how, because we don't have any use for life points besides just staying alive. You want to watch through all of Yu-Gi-Oh now? Oh, jeez. Because life points don't have a use besides keeping us alive, like, it's really led to a lot of these bursting combos to just burst people down. But like, if we had more cards that like use life points as a resource, it might actually like change the flow of the game. Oh, was Zexal not worth it? Okay. Also, I don't think anyone answered. How's the music? Is it too loud? Like, when I look at it on the mixer, it looks like it's just a little bit short of being as loud as I am. The only one worse than... Music's fine? Okay, thank you, Nekomaji. I'm always worried about my sound. Oh, we're getting a Silva list of series that are worth it and best to least. Well, the game would be for it to no longer be a business. I hear about Mystic Mine and how they continue to produce broken cards that would just be banned later. 5D's Arc V Original GX. Okay, Silva. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Really embraced that trading cards as a business mentality, and like if you are buying and selling Yu-Gi-Oh, you can make uh a pretty good business. Like if I was actually willing to keep doing that and like shipping product out, I could probably do something like that. But well, theoretically, I'm not sure. Like the thing is, once someone orders a card, you want to have it shipped as soon as possible, because if you don't ship it like the next day or whatever, or that day, you don't get paid till they receive it. So like that's the thing with those kind of businesses. I don't know. I don't know if Archiview was good. Silva says it's good, so it must be good. Silva only consumes good anime. Nekomaji didn't like it though. What did you like about it, Silva? Bias, what happened to your favorite character? I know for a fact that people will see Mystic Mine and spend as much money as possible to get it, only for them to limit it to one or ban it when the community gets... Yeah. A part of that has to do with power creep. They just keep releasing more and more powerful cards. And because there's only one format in regular play and regulation play, there's just not a big, like, there's no controlling factor. Like in Magic has their legacy format. Okay, hold on. Happy joy. Like he's riding a hippo, he's riding a dragon. Then it's like episode holy. I love how the automatic moderator stops it when Silva starts cursing, and it doesn't appear in my output. It doesn't appear on the actual chat, but it still appears on the screen. That's funny. The automatic moderator catches it, but for whatever reason, the setup I have for displaying the chat on screen just catches it before the automatic moderator does. Anyway, let's get to what we're here for. Yep. It does not bother me. There are only a few cards I can ever say I hate. Yeah, I don't even know what Mystic Mine does. I just know that it's really OP, and half the people are saying it should be banned, and the other half of the people are saying lol, just draw the out. Neither of which is helpful. Alright, well, it's after 9 o'clock, so let's get rolling into what we're here for tonight. Writing stream. Aliens in space magic? What? Cards in the field of your opponent. Yu-Gi-Oh! Super Saiyan in space. Well, like, didn't GX introduce aliens with the Neo-Spacians and, like, saying that, what's his name? Jaden was inspired to create the Neo-Spacians by actual aliens? Wasn't that a plot point in GX? I didn't watch much after the original, and even the original I dropped off partway through. I liked playing the game, and I got really frustrated that the game on the show was different than the game in the rules. All right, so currently we are at 5,953 words. Okay. No, 43. It's funny that triggers all of the goofy faces for my character. Also, quick question for the chat. Do any of you have backlit keyboards where like the keyboard lights up whenever there's power, whenever the computer's on? Like I have one of those on my laptop, and I'm debating getting one of those for my computer whenever I get my gaming rig. But I'm not sure if it's worthwhile enough for me. I'm not sure if it's worthwhile enough for me to spend the extra money for it. Like I found one listing for a keyboard that has it that's only like $5 more than the regular keyboard I want to get. But there's only one left in stock, and due to money things, I'm not making the purchase till sometime during the week. So I'm just kind of in this thing of I'll see if it's still in stock whenever I go to make my purchase. Nekomaji, you say nope, it's not worth it? Oh, you don't have one. Okay. It's funny, like I'm not even considering getting a mechanical keyboard or any of that stuff, but like the small creature comforts of having my keyboard lit up. Old and just normal. Yeah. Hey, as long as it works, as long as it works. Like, what's that meme where it's the little cat sitting in front of the laptop that's like, I love my pooter, all my friends are inside of it. Anyway, so far, because not sure when it would be useful, I personally don't really like my keyboard lighting up unless it's in a dark room. That's true. I don't know. So there's this kind of like this incentive for me, right? Where I absolutely positively do not want anything to be a downgrade where possible from my current setup. I want everything to be an upgrade from my laptop. Because that's the whole point of this. The whole point of this is to invest in myself and in something I want, and to get something that is strictly better than what I have right now. So to be a step up, I want it to feel good. Yeah. So my laptop has a backlit keyboard, and I was just gonna get a regular Logitech keyboard for like $12, like the regular bog standard thing you can get from like any Walmart anywhere. It's like K something or other was the item number or whatever, and I was just gonna get that and call it a day. Like, you're just completely normal thing. But then part of me is like, do I want the backlighting? Like I kind of like the backlighting, but I don't know if I like it enough to actually spend more money for it, you know? And does going from lit keyboard to unlit keyboard count as a downgrade in my head? So many thoughts. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I want the sweet spot I want for this chapter is between 3,000 and 4,000 words. Currently, this chapter has 2,467 words. So ideally, I would like to get another, like 700 to 800 words, right? At least into this chapter, just to actually cover and really express the ideas and make sure I'm fully expressing these ideas. So let's go over what I've done so far. This chapter is called The Meeting, which is where Hazel and Fern attend this this informational meeting at Fox Coffee, right? And did the whole thing where they I think last stream we talked about them catching the air taxi, and then then came the part where we talked about, okay, sorry, I was reading my own stuff. Then came the part where we're talking about how the meeting began, and this I kind of want some input on, because this is the direction I wanted to go to show that the main character has leadership skills and that the main character is really smart. So they're having this meeting, and there are all these people asking questions, and the character that we were introduced to before, he's trying to answer these questions, right? But then you isn't finishing any statements before someone else is asking a question, and you is getting bombarded with all of these questions, and people are getting riled up, people are afraid, people are scared, and they're starting to direct their fears and anxieties at the people running the meeting. And then as you is trying to get out words and trying to introduce things, Fern nudges Hazel and is like, you should say something, and Hazel's like, I don't think it would help, like it would just be another, like expressing that it would just be another question. And then Fern references something from their past and says, no, not ask a question. You should take charge like you did on the Fesca. When the captain got sick, you took charge and kept everyone working together instead of fighting among themselves. Fern said they need someone to take charge, or this will turn into a destructive mob, because things were just starting to get out of hand. And then we get into Hazel's perspective, where Hazel's like looking around the room with new eyes. Instead of just looking at a group of people, he's looking for how to take charge of the room. And he put together a simple plan in which he jumped on a stool, then jumped from the stool to the bar. When he was at the bar, he grabbed a cup and a wooden stir, and he started clanging them together in order to get noise made by the cup. And he was clanging them together while saying, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, repeatedly in order to get everyone's attention. And then once he got everyone's attention, he reminded them of all why they're there. He said, we're all here for the same reason, to get answers. If you don't let this gentleman answer, none of us will get what we came for. I'm here for the same reason as all of you. I want to hear what they have to say. After he gives an answer, everyone with a question will raise their hand, and he will pick one, and only one that will give their question. He will answer it. Can we all agree to that? Hazel waited, trying not to show any of the anxiety he felt, though they had no reason to listen to him, but he was hoping that reminding them of why they were all here might put this meeting on track. So for this part of the scene, I tried to do some research on what are some steps to take control of an out of control meeting, of a meeting that has spiraled off and has gone out of control. And the number one thing that was suggested was get everyone's attention and remind them of the agenda, remind them of why they're there, refer back to the agenda, and until everyone gets back on track and the meeting starts moving forward. So that's what the stuff I found online suggested, and I thought, you know what, that sounds like a good idea. We're not showing this character to be some kind, like, we're not, at this point, we're not showing this character as some kind of strategic genius. We're showing him as someone who has leadership capabilities and who's able to take charge when he has to. Then they move through, and so I don't like to have walls of exposition. I've said this before, but like sci-fi, especially military sci-fi, is notorious for having walls of exposition. Any weakness will be picked at. Absolutely, Nekomaji. And so I don't want to have walls of exposition. I might eventually have an appendix explaining the technology, but like that's going to be a later thing. That's not something that counts towards the word count of the actual novel, right? And words. I just lost my entire train of thought. What was I saying? Exposition. If there's exposition, I like to tuck it into the middle of the story, where I just gesture to the fact that two characters are talking. Seems like typical style, direct anger at the noisemaker, and only back down if the others seem too intense. That makes sense, Nekomaji. What I try to do is I try to tuck my exposition into character interaction and just gesture to the fact that these two characters are talking, but instead of writing out every line of dialogue, I give you a short exposition blurb that is a paraphrasing of what they're saying. And I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, I don't know if that's like unnecessarily simplifying it, but that's what I'm working with right now. So I put in a little bit of exposition here to just represent you answering these questions, because I didn't want to have to come up with questions for each topic and then use answer for each one and then just write that out. I felt like that would just drag on and it would lose the pace of the story. What you explained was that the government had in the past, the government had been a much different thing. There were lots of social programs in place that acted to protect the weakest, the most vulnerable, and even after that's true. That's true, Nekomaji. I could read some other novels and see how they do it. So for all their money and power, Rosicrucius said, yes, Lord of the Rings and the Harry Potter books and all of those definitely set this standard for fantasy books, sci-fi and fantasy books, to be and also like just for fantasy in general to be really long. And like sci-fi normally has these big deep political plots that get caught up in some convoluted things, so they end up tending to be long as well. So the government so you explained that the government had the previous government had these powerful social programs. That's okay, Nekomaji. I still value your input. And even after Rosicrucius took over in their violent revolution, many people still demanded these social programs be continued. For all their money and power, Rosicrucius has not been able to completely shake the ghost of the previous government. The previous regime ruled for over 1,000 years, and you don't just erase that overnight. Rosicrucius was hesitant to abolish all of these social programs for fear of popular outcry, but as long as these programs existed, they could not exploit the world the way they wanted to. Their plan was simple: destroy most of the world except a small slice of humanity, and that was completely able-bodied and loyal to their capitalistic ideals. Then they would rebuild civilization in a way that would eternally benefit the government. So that's what, like, starting to reveal what's known about Rosicrucius' plan. And in the next part was going over the fact that, like, for all the answers they got, no one, not you or any of the other organizers, had given any answers about what to do with this information. They did express that protesting was going to be irrelevant because after all the protesting kept going, the government would make some big show of hearing the people and acquiescing to the people, and their compromise would be this 10% plan in which they would allow 10% of the people to survive the blast in order to rebuild humanity in a way that won't reach a dead end. And that'll be their compromise. So if they already know what's going to come as part of that compromise, and if protesting is really not going to achieve anything, then what do they do? As they're winding down and people start leaving, Fern notices that a lot of people are being approached by some of the workers from Fake's Coffee, and Hazel puts two and two together and realizes all of the people who are being approached by Fake's Coffee employees are people who are asking about what to do with this information, what action to take. And Hazel puts it together and realizes they're recruiting for something. And when you comes up to Hazel and is like, hey, thanks for what you did there, Hazel just cuts to him and is like, what are you recruiting for? And Fern, being Fern, bubbly, kind of goofy, almost absent-minded, but still quite brilliant, is just like recruiting, like for a fan club. And then Yu says, not quite a fan club, quite the opposite, kind of the opposite actually, an anti-fan club, if you will, a group of people who are very much not fans of the government and what they are doing. And then this is how Yu is framing their rebellion, as a group of people that are just not fans of the government. And then they ask, what kind of action are you taking to help the situation? And he says, direct action. So this is where I'm at an impasse, because that thing of ending on direct action is a great way to end the chapter. But I'm not sure if I've fleshed out all the ideas in this chapter yet, and if I'm ready to end this chapter. Like, there's no problem with having a short chapter. That's not a problem at all. But I really like that line, you know what I mean? I thought it was good. I thought it came together really well. It kind of just randomly came together. Yeah. So, like, there's not a problem with having a short chapter, but I just want to make sure before I move on from this chapter that, like, I've expressed all the ideas in this chapter that I want to express. Because this chapter was supposed to be about the meeting, and it's covered the meeting beginning to end. Well, not beginning, it's covering from when Hazel and Fern got there to the end. But I could also, if I'm not completely married, attached, whatever, to this idea of ending on that line, direct action, I could do an afterword in which you explains what this direct action will look like. So I guess I could do that, you know? I don't know, what do you think? I'll write it up and see how I feel about it. And that's the beauty of doing this 200 word challenge, is like, if I end up not using it, that's 200 words. I don't know, like, so in this situation, there you was asking Hazel and Fern if they're in, and saying, I can't give you more information until you say you're in. And they have a moment, Hazel and Fern have a moment together where they recognize the fact that, like, while Hazel is always the one that shined the brightest, Fern has always come in second place behind Hazel in everything they've done. And as soon as Fern accomplishes something, as soon as Hazel accomplishes something, Fern is right on Hazel's heels. And the two of them agree that this is going to be another thing in which they're going to go into together. And so then Hazel says, what kind of action are you taking? Are you talking about taking to help the situation? And then direct action, and I said expressed because I hate saying said. I say said so many times because there's so much dialogue. Yes. It's really hard to do. And the best way to do that is to have whatever you're showing appear naturally in the story, instead of being an exposition dump that explains all about it. Like, letting its features and pieces be revealed naturally, one piece at a time. Right. I've been doing my best to spread the exposition out, because exposition is a part of speech. Like, I'm not going to get around it. There's going to be some exposition, but I want it to fit naturally in the flow of the story. Yes, that's what I mean. When something related to that happens, in order to make sure the reader understands what's happening. Let me see something. Because instead of That's also true. Actually, I had a thought about how I want to end this chapter. I think because I want my chapters to lead into each other, right? And yeah, there won't be much of a reason to reference it later. Um, hold on, I'm thinking about something. I'm having a thought. I'm having a brainwave. So next chapter, I want to introduce the pirate, which I named. I don't remember the name of the pirate, who's my secondary antagonist, my secondary protagonist. So I should remember the name. Grief Stormblood. That's her name. Right. So I might have a little dialogue here in which you explains that there are a bunch of rebel groups that are now coming together under one banner to coordinate their actions against the government. But what they really need right now is someone to coordinate their activities and someone to act as a leader, and then end on some reference to the revolutionary, who is an individual from myth and legend that helped organized and led and inspired the Rosicrucius Revolution over the previous government. Or I just start the next chapter and introduce. Or I could just start the next chapter. I could just start the next chapter and introduce the pirate. Thoughts. You're right. If I say too much now, there won't be a point to reference later. Let me write this and see what it looks like. Let me write it and see if I like what it looks like. later remove or edit or add things. No deadline either, so no need to fret too much, I think. Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, Nekomaji. Words as excuses and toss in random drama. I'm trying to avoid all the really bad sci-fi tropes. Why can I not? Is it paradise? Okay, cool. So the idea I want to express here is that, like, Hazel is actually, let me make a note here in my notes. I'm listening, Okusen. That's true, Okusen. So then you only include it whenever it's a new person speaking or whenever context isn't obvious. I'm gonna lose a lot of words for that. could probably spend an entire stream going back through everything. Well, that's going to be in the editing phase. We're gonna try that moving forward, and when it comes to editing this to go from draft 1 to draft 2, we will deal with all of that. Yeah, but still, that's got it. So the idea I want to express here is that there is a group of old timers that that's also true, Nekomaji. Like it could be a stylistic choice. Yeah. I still like dialogue is hard for me to write because so much of my writing is just exposition, backstories, and explaining what characters find where. That coming up, like most of my dialogue whenever I'm running a game is improvised. I have a set amount of information that has to be delivered to my players. Yeah, thank you, Nekomaji. I thank you for your consideration. Like, there are, like, I have these things of this information I want to transmit to the players. See, and I normally improvise. But that thing about where you have too much stuff, like, when I read, sometimes I lose track of who's talking. So I have to be careful where I do it, because if you do it too much, with too much back and forth, it can be really hard to keep track of who's talking. Yes, Nekomaji the Great Sage. Yeah, like in RP you always know who's talking because like it's somebody's voice. Or it's somebody's username. Well, establish dialects for the characters that you can tell based on that, but this person I read recently would just throw endless dialogue at you. That's rough. Yeah, I hate, well, so Hazel is your stereotypical chuny in that everything is important. It is, to Hazel, it is of the utmost importance to find out why no one else has seen a griffin. Everything is of extreme importance. Well, actually, the anti-fan club was... the anti-fan club was you. You was saying that. That wasn't Hazel. Well, you calls an anti-fan club, and then Hazel says, what would this anti-fan club do exactly? Okay. I see what you're saying. Hazel didn't facepalm, Hazel didn't laugh, Hazel didn't chuckle. You just... Yes, it still fits. It still fits because Hazel just ran with it. Hazel didn't take it as a joke. Hazel didn't crack or show any sign of weakness. You already like Fern? Alright, listen, the description I got was like positive, bubbly, Genki character, alright? So I tried to write a Genki character that's actually really good at what they do. That they're just shy of being as good as the main character. Mhm. Mm. So, okay. This is an interesting point here, because at this point I'm having Fern reference what they learned in school about the previous regime and the revolution. So the previous regime had ruled for over 1,000 years before they were overthrown in a violent revolution by Rosicrucius, and then Rosicrucius very quickly, after coming into power, began to break a lot of their promises of great prosperity that would come to the world. And I'm wondering, what would they have in their propaganda-filled educational system? Like, the idea here is that not many people who weren't, besides people who were alive, not many know much about the previous regime. But I also want this to be a society where most people don't even know how Rosicrucius works, because so many businesses and governmental organizations, well, I know businesses do it. I can't say the governments do it. But they operate in a lot of the ways they do because the public doesn't know how they operate. As long as people don't know how they operate, they can get away. As long as the public at large doesn't know about the misdeeds of a company or organization, they can keep committing those misdeeds. They can keep doing those things. So I'm thinking in this scenario, Rosicrucius has created an education system that reveals as little about how the government works as possible. The people just know, all the people are taught, and there's all this, but then also it takes time to implement an education system, which, that I just had a brainwave. I just had a brainwave. I have to make a note of something real quick. So, if we say that Hazel and Fern went to school and had propaganda-laden studies in their schooling, right? Then that implies that after Rosicrucius took power, they were able to immediately start enacting their will, which implies some level of planning and pre-organization, which implies that so much of the revolution had been planned leading up to it. And I can have that be kind of a plot point that gets teased at and dragged out, that these business owners that put this together had been planning it, and the revolution was the ultimate moment of their master plan. And the revolutionary was just a tool that they used to achieve that. But yes, even in Plant Punk, the education system is flawed. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm making notes of this. Okay, so I made a note of this, that they created an education system that wants the people to know as little as possible about how the government works, and even less about the previous regime. I've seen bits and pieces of Code Geass. Like, I watched up until a certain point of Code Geass. Yeah, I know. I like the mechs in it. Okay. So in my notes, I described this as the largest con job ever. That this is all of this was part of a long-term. Oh, there's a fly buzzing around in my room, in the basement. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now I have an idea of what they learned at school, so I can express that here. Oh, okay. So this one I need to identify as Fern. Okay. Mhm. Hello, 007 Goldfish. This is a sci-fi story. I'm calling it plant punk. Think cyberpunk, but with plants instead of cyberware. Reintroducing money to the world and place customer like the new scientific advancement. I gotta simplify it. Okay, there we go. Have to make it something emotional. The promise of the previous regime can't be big and scientific and analytical. It has to be emotional. Thank you, 007 Goldfish. Can I just call you Goldfish? I need to simplify this more because if the Rosicrucians made a promise that got so many people on their side in order to power an entire revolution, it needs to be something short, sweet, and emotionally driven that can motivate large groups of people. So cool, Goldfish. Have you been working on any stories or characters or things for yourself, Goldfish? I'm always excited to hear about the projects other people are working on as well. There we go, something sweet. They promised that by placing a cost on things, life would begin to have value again. Oh, that's really cool, Goldfish. Do you want to share anything about it, like what it's about or what's motivating you? Yeah, I was gonna say Nekomaji, one of the viewers here, really loves fantasy works. So, I don't know if you're a member of my Discord, but I have a place on there where people can share their writing. It's called the Writer's Corner, and I shared something on there that I'd seen Someone had made a post alleging that Terry Pratchett wrote 400 words a day every day in order to consistently crank out content, and that they were going to challenge themselves to write 200 words a day in order to remove that mental barrier of like, oh, I need to set aside 3 or 4 hours of time in order to write. I need to set aside all of this time in order to write. I shouldn't be like, if I'm going to be writing, I want to make sure I'm in the perfect mental state. I'm in the best and most focused sitting position. I've got the best music playing. I've eaten, I've rested, and I'm fully focused. And just get your 200 words out. Get something on the board, because it's a lot. Because if you're constantly looking for that perfect situation, that perfect thing to be at in order to crank out your 1,000 or 2,000 words, then a lot of times you're just going to keep looking for that time, and there's this just giant mental gap of, do I even want to try if I'm not going to be able to crank out that 1,000 words? So by removing that and saying just crank out 200 words, you'll normally overshoot that, and it just becomes easier to be like, okay, I got 20 minutes, I got 30 minutes, I can crank out 200 words. So that's what I'm doing. I'm challenging myself to write 200 words a day. I'm usually averaging between 300 to 600 words, but the goal is at least 2. Basically, dark fantasy with themes of humanity, morals, and finding a reason to persevere. Ooh, that's exciting. Yeah, that's really great. High school now, nearly 7 years, lots of yes. Though, so like, I've been doing Dungeon Master stuff for arguably most of my life, because I started doing it when I was developing stories for myself, when I bought all the 3.5 books when I was in college. Well, 18, not about half my life. But I ran into this issue when I went to try to start writing an actual novel. And it's whenever I would write, yeah, well, I'm sure if you put your mind to it, Nekomaji, I'm sure you'll get to it. You'll cross that bridge one day. I found that when I went from writing from D&D and other tabletop role-playing games to actually writing a novel, I was writing walls and walls of exposition, because that was so much of what I got from D&D was, okay, what did you find out from your perception check? Here's the exposition of what you found out, what you got from your check or your insight check. And that was so much of what I'd been describing. I was really good at expositing and describing stuff and giving info dumps and information. My dialogue was mostly improvised based on some simple notes. And oh, well, I hope that they were helpful to you. I haven't made Mutants and Masterminds content in a while. I was actually thinking about making a Mutants and Masterminds video, because I recently saw at least part of this movie Samaritan on Amazon Prime, and I was thinking of making a Mutants and Masterminds character based on Samaritan, doing another one of those character build videos I used to do way back. But right now everything's kind of on hold till I get my new computer. Then I'll probably tackle that. Yeah, doing show not tell in written form is an interesting challenge. So what I've been working on is trying to tuck my exposition into places where it flows naturally. Like if I introduce a new concept or idea, I will do a small exposition of what that thing is, or enough for the reader to understand what's happening. I'm still undecided on whether or not I'm going to have some kind of appendix explaining how the technology works. But right now I'm operating under the assumption that I'm not. And one thing I do like doing is if characters are going to have a conversation and it's going to be like a group of characters having a conversation, instead of writing out all the dialogue for every member of the group of characters, sometimes I will introduce exposition to paraphrase what's being said in order to get that information to the reader without bogging down the story. Why can I not spell? Oh, it does have two A's in it. Okay. I don't like any of this. Sci-fi definitely lends itself to having a lot of systems and proper nouns that characters just treat like totally normal part of everyday life, and a lot of times the reader has to contextualize it themselves. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. I'm trying really hard to avoid all of those common tropes. Part of me is like, can I put together a story avoiding as many of the common tropes and pitfalls of sci-fi writing as possible? Like, I'm not shooting for making like the next great novel, but I'm like, can I just avoid most of those common tropes and things that bug people? Those common like cliches. Okay, to be fair, sci-fi does that sometimes, except they just say it's science. And for some of the things about how some of the motors work in my world, I'm just saying it's plant science. Technobabble can be fun. Wibbly wobbly Timmy Wimmy. I know. It's wibbly wobbly timey wimey, but you wrote Timmy Wimmy. Load the lasers and bring the spider orchid drive online. Fire cacti torpedoes full spread and warp me out of here. Maybe I am a little afraid to technobabble. Maybe I am a little bit afraid to technobabble. Ooh. Must hit the glowing red orb. Actually, I just had a thought. I'm gonna make a note of this. Yes, that thing right there, Silva. Yeah, but I know there's like a language where like so there's like lilies mean this, and like if you have a lily, it represents something, and this and that and the other. I've been using a lot of random generators for stuff, but I just got a thought that maybe some of the spies and espionage experts in this world would leave plants at specific locations in order to leave a message. But yeah. But yes, I am using plants a lot. Among them, for them, this issue and theirs are one and the same. It's obvious that Hazel's talking, so I don't have to say that. Hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Uh, mm, okay. So here we're getting the actual actionable things that they want from Hazel. Oh, Goldfish, I think did you just join the Discord? Well, welcome to the Star Hunters, where we shoot for the stars, have wonderful adventures, live our dreams, and always, always, always stop to enjoy the memes. Listen, we embrace the cringe around here. A little bit of cringe is good for you. Who's there, Silva? Doctor Who. Ah ha 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 ha. Correct. Yes, Goldfish. Cringe keeps the soul strong. Yes, Nekomaji. Nekomaji, we watched the first episode of that together. A bunch of us, like Silva and Okusen and I. And we all, well, Silva didn't, but Okusen and I definitely regretted the time and brain cells we lost watching that episode. You just enjoy inflicting psychic damage. Okay. This is a part where I'm trying to like it's pretty bad, Nekomaji. At least the first episode's really bad. So what I'm trying to express here, right, is Yu is telling Hazel, Bento is good except for the yandere lesbian side character thirsting for another side character and abusing the main. No. You can keep that, Nekomaji. You can keep that to yourself and enjoy it on your own time. We don't do that here. You're right, Silva. Spray bottle. No. Spray bottle. So what I'm trying to express here is... No, Silva. No, this is a family-friendly channel. So what I'm trying to express here is I want you to tell Hazel there is a person I need you to not act like, and Hazel's gonna ask who, and then Nekomaji, no, spray bottle, bad. I need a spray bottle emote. But and then when Hazel says who, you is gonna respond with the revolutionary, and then I end of scene, end of chapter. Goldfish, you are the hero, coming in with the spray bottle emote. How do you type that? What is that? Hold on. I can't copy what you posted. It's not letting me do it on my phone. I can't do that on my phone, and I don't. When I click on Goldfish's name, it asks me if I want to ban Goldfish, and that's not what I want. Goldfish, I'm just gonna count on you to do the spray bottle. You One day. One day. Okay. What's one of the ultimate animes, Nekomaji? SEB ni Ikuyo. What's it about? Okay. All right. FBI agents, assassins who can teleport items, cat girls with giant quasi-antimatter hammers that destroy anything. I have the distinct feeling I'm not going to like this. All right, let's see how many words I've written today. Not the best day. Definitely going to be a short chapter. That's wrote 319 words today. A lot of it can get patched up in editing. Okay, so 2783. I'll probably expound on a couple things in editing. Okay, which brings the total. Let's do this. 6 plus 3 is 9. 7 plus 8 is 15. Put on the 5, carry the 1. 7 plus 4 is 11. Plus 1 makes 12. Carry the 1. So that is 6. We are up to 6,259 words total. $6,259. All right. That was successful. We got a lot of ideas in. Chapter 2 is going to be a shorter chapter than Chapter 1, but that's okay. There was a lot of stuff to go over in Chapter 1. Definitely solid, Goldfish. And I have a lot, like, there's a lot of stuff I'm gonna get whenever I finally finish this draft and I go through and editing. So tell me, Goldfish, in your novel you're working on, does your main character have a name yet? Just gonna move over here to some just chatting as we wind down for the last few minutes. And also, I was wondering, Nekomaji, are you working on any new character backstories? I know you said that that was something that you do a lot. A duo, Kai and Redgar. Ooh, that sounds interesting. So, are they, for the duo protagonists, are they on the same side? Are they working towards the same goal? Or are they two protagonists in different organizations where the story moves between them? I mean, if you might actually add them into one of my stories if I ever get it around turning the setting into a full story. Hey, I definitely support creative action and trying new things. What's your latest character you've made, Nekomaji? Last thought, how about a post-apocalyptic world full of inhuman characters and one human main character trying to discover what happened to the humans with monsters that wipe the memory of those it touches? This is a real anime. Kind of a barbarian and a blacksmith ranger. They're friends from a village that gets sacked and they get captured by the invaders. Ooh. That's interesting. So then they have to find their way free, or do they befriend the invaders, or... Sorry, I'm just curious. I love hearing about other people's stories. But that sounds like a really interesting... Kimono friends. Let me see this. Post-apocalyptic world full of inhuman characters and one human main character trying to discover what happened to the humans with monsters that wipe the memory of those it touches. So everyone's getting their memory wiped? Everyone's getting their memories wiped and stuff? That's interesting, Nekomaji. Forced to serve, and one stays true to wanting to escape while the other gets rewarded so much they basically acquire oh. CGI is awful, but you ignore it after a while. Okay, Nekomaji. Oh, so the two protagonists get divided. Oh. That's exciting. Now that you're a member of the Discord, if you ever feel like sharing like your work in progress or what you've done for other people to read. Oh, you were listening to Nekomaji? Cool. If you ever want to share your stuff for people to read, you can share it in the Discord called there's one of the things called Writer's Corner in the Artist's Playground. I have a lot of chats I don't really need anymore. I just kind of built chats as I needed them. Oh, that could be great, Goldfish. I would definitely be excited to read that. I'm not sure how much time I'd have for reading it, but I could definitely see it being something fun to do. Names are the hardest for you, Nekomaji. Yeah, names are rough. Sorry for the yawning. I've been up for a while today. You do that, Silva. I'm just winding down myself. Thanks for coming, Silva. I really appreciate having you here. Every detail, but not a name. Same with a story, setting, and backstory. That's rough. Oh, thank you, Goldfish. I'm always up for getting some suggestions and stuff. I wanna get better at taking editorial critiques. Because the first time I got editorial critiques, I just crumpled in on myself and completely like collapsed my self-image, and I'm trying to not do that. So I always welcome, just please be gentle. That's great, Goldfish. It's good that you've got friends that help you with that. Honestly, um, I'm debating after I finish the transcript, just like going to Fiverr and seeing if I can hire out someone to read over my story and give me editorial notes. Just to get an outside perspective on it. Character story making. Mm-hmm. That's true, Nekomaji. Yeah, there's so many self-publishing options recently that it's like, do you want to self-publish or do you want to go through the rigmarole of going through a traditional publisher? And then that comes down to like, a lot of it comes down to, do you want your book to be released as a PDF, or do you want for it to actually hit print? Because like, PDFs are great and all, but there's nothing like holding a book. You know? Yeah, money, money, money. I don't know. I took a break from running games for a while, from running tabletop role-playing games for a while, and I feel like my writing and my creativity got worse. I felt like I was on the back foot for a while now. Anyway, it's 11 o'clock where I am right now, and it's about time for me to wind down and say goodnight to all of you. Yeah, that's definitely true, Nekomaji. Thank you to Okusen, Silva, Nekomaji, Goldfish, and anyone else who came to tonight's stream or who watches the VOD. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I want you to know that I believe in you and I love each and every one of you. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I hope that something goes your way. And I want you all to know that each and every one of you makes this world better just by being in it. And that you're important. And I also want you to remember the motto: shoot for the stars, have wonderful adventures, live your dreams, and always, always, always stop to enjoy the memes. Yes, peace sign, Goldfish. And also, if you ever want to follow me or keep up with what I'm doing, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ding the notification bell to know when I go live or release new content. There's links to the Discord and to my Twitter in the description below. If you like this music, you can find it on the Lofi Girl playlist. There's a link to that as well in the description. If you ever feel motivated to give to improve my life or improve the stream, there are links where you can do that in the description as well. I want you all to know that I think you are amazing. Have a great night. Have a great night. Words are hard.